What's up, Boxing Land? What's up, Boxing Freaks? I'm doing this video in response to all of the people that asked me, why I do videos on Al Haymon and why I take shots at the guy. And, it upsets me, not that they questioned me, but it upsets me that they can't figure it out for themselves, what my beef is with this guy, and what pisses me off about him in boxing. Is this simple, right? When you overpay fighters, like, say, for example, Berto getting over $1 million to face cab drivers like Freddie Hernandez, right? It blows the budget, right? It eats up the budget of network television subscription channels like HBO and Showtime, right? So that there isn't any money left over for cards like Showbox or HBO After Dark, where you can develop new and upcoming talent, where you can have a card and you can showcase these guys and you can promote them and get them exposure. But what happens is you pay the likes of Berto, the likes of Adrian Broner, the likes of Danny Garcia, huge sums of money, and it eats up that budget. And the bottom line is this, that if it wasn't for HBO and if it wasn't for Showtime, boxing in North America, as we know it, would probably be dead. And pro boxing would probably be dead, If those networks didn't pick up fights, where would we see them? ESPN doesn't pay enough for fights, okay? That they could have really solid cards. And I don't want to get into the reasons why, but I want to stay on subject, is that if you keep giving Al Haymon fighters huge sums of money, there isn't money left over for the development of the sport and the development of other fighters. And, people say, well, Haymon doesn't cheat his fighters and Al Haymon pays his fighters well. But who gives a fuck as a fan? Like, I don't care how much money they make. And I want them to do well, but I don't want them to get overpaid. I mean, Danny Garcia making over $1.5 million. Why? Because he knocked out No Chin Khan? You know what I'm saying? So that's not good for the sport. And I'm not saying that these guys shouldn't make money, but what I'm saying is that they're making way too much fucking money, and it eats up the budget. I mean, how many years have we gone by, right? And we get to, summertime and we have no fights. We get to the fall and there are no fights to watch. Why? There's plenty of boxers, but what happens? The budget dries up. Okay? So with the economy being the way that it is, it's not like they're going to get an increase in budget, right? Unless, on Showtime, the Mayweather pay-per-view revenue justifies, Showtime getting a bigger budget from parent company CBS. But in the last Mayweather fight, he cost them a $12 million loss. So that hasn't worked out too good for CBS and Showtime. But anyway, Haymon used way too much fucking power, over now Showtime, and gets his fighters everything that they want. And again, they're getting overpaid. And if you can't see that that's a fucking problem, then you really don't know shit about boxing, So, again, I'm not opposing fighters making money. I'm not opposing that, and people defend them. Well, the fighters aren't getting fucked. Okay, but the fans are, right? When Don King was fucking fighters, nobody was saying shit about that. Why? Because the fans were getting the fights that they wanted, right? But now we don't get the fucking fights we want, but the fighters aren't getting cheated, and you defend this cocksucker. You know what I'm saying? To me, Al Haymon is the evolution of Don King, all right? One of them fucked the fighters, and the other one fucks the fans. Because the other one, the current one, doesn't give us the fights that we want. Now, you can say that we're getting Danny Garcia, Lucas Matisse, right? But the only reason why that's happening is because Floyd Mayweather needs another opponent after he beats up Canelo. That's it. That's the only reason why, is to set up a future opponent. And that's it. So, again, like I said, one of them, Don King screwed the fighters, and Al Haymon screws the fans. But both of them, and both things are bad for the fan and are bad for the sport of boxing. So we can't overlook everything with Haymon and say, oh, this guy's a saint, this guy's good for boxing because he doesn't fuck the fighters, but he fucks the fans. We don't get what we want. And let me make something clear for all you fucking fools that live in the boxing matrix, okay? Mayweather versus Pacquiao when it was red hot, when the whole world wanted to see that fight, when that would have been the largest fight in human history, right? Why didn't that fight happen? All right, if you read Floyd Hype, better known as Fight Hype, you believed all the bullshit that Ben Thompson wrote, and you believed all the bullshit that Mayweather told you through there. And if you read Boxing Scene at that time, which was Dick writing Manny Pacquiao hard, all right, since he got knocked out, they got off of Manny's bandwagon, all right? But now Boxing Scene is on that Golden Boy Richard Schaefer bandwagon. But back then, Boxing Scene was writing Manny hard. And Boxing Scene was telling you everything pro Pacquiao, and Fight Hype was telling you everything pro Mayweather, and you were believing both bullshit. When the bottom line was this: Bob Arum was at fault, like Al Haymon was at fault for not making that fight. So I blasted Arum. If you look at my YouTube channel, you'll see that I've been blasting Bob Arum for the longest, and I don't let none of his bullshit slide. But I can't turn a blind eye to Al Haymon and say that he wasn't responsible for the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight not happening. He had just as much fault in that not happening as Bob Arum did. So stop with this bullshit Pacquiao, versus Mayweather bullshit, when the reality is that it was Bob Arum's fault and it was Al Haymon's fault why this fight didn't happen. So if that happened with the super mega fight, the largest fight that the world could have ever seen, if it happened with that, think about this. How many other fights are we not going to see as a result of that? Okay, Don King fucked fighters, but guess what? Don King gave the people the fights that they wanted to see. Are we going to get the same from Haymon? No, we're not. Top Rank isn't going to work with him. And all of you say, well, Golden Boy doesn't work with Top Rank. Is it really that Bob Arum doesn't work with Golden Boy? Or is it that Bob Arum refuses to work with Al Haymon? And the fucked up thing about boxing now is this: that as much as I despise Bob Arum, because of Al Haymon, Bob Arum has now in boxing become a necessary evil. So think about that, right? Click back and listen to what I said, and maybe you'll learn something. And then maybe I won't have to tell you that you don't know jack shit about boxing. Peace.